Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the evolution event, and I'm going to provide some tips for you if you're a battler, or if you're interested in raid challenges. Then I'm going to provide some interesting challenges that maybe you want to take a look or to fancy your interest at the end of the video. So this may not sound like, you may read through it and you might think it's not that exciting event, and you're right, it's not that exciting of an event. But this is an event you can certainly take advantage of and utilize it for your benefit. So we're just going to read through it, and then I'm going to provide some tips right after we get through it on how to optimize from a grind perspective, what Pokemon you should be pursuing for PvP, talk about the raid day, some strategies for that, and then some raid challenges. So lots to cover. So perhaps one of the greatest lessons we learned from Pokemon is that it's possible to evolve into a surprising and cool being. It's kind of weird wording, but sometimes we just need a little boost or help. Let's celebrate how much your Pokemon and you have grown this year with the first ever evolution event and an accompanying raid day. So raid days are always really exciting, 3-hour windows. Every gym is a raid, and we haven't had one for a while. The last one we had was Lapras, which was probably back in April or something like that. So it's certainly been a long while, and there's been some really iconic ones in the past. Well, I guess we had the legendary beast, so I stand corrected. So we've had the legendary beasts, but even then, that's been a little while since we've had them. And then, but those are always fun, and usually they're accompanied with something interesting. So, Pokemon, let's see here. Pokemon evolution can depend on whether or not there's a certain gender. So, for example, Combi and Vespiquen has spent time as your buddy. Bonsly and Sudowoodo is an example. Feebas and Melodic is another. Sometimes evolutions occur because of a particular item. Metal Coat with Scizor or Steelix, Dragon Scale with Seadra to Kingdra, a number of different ones. Time of day, Umbreon, Espeon, lure module, so Magnezone, Probopass, Glaceon, Leafeon, a number of different ones. During this event, you'll be able to explore all the unique ways to evolve your Pokemon. So that's kind of cool. Look forward to evolution items from raids, longer lasting lures, and increased encounters with Pokemon that evolve in special ways. So this event will run from December 5th, 2019 at 1 p.m. PST to Thursday, December 12th, 2019, 1 p.m. PST. So a week-long event, pretty standard. Pokemon that evolve in unique ways, such as Onix, Eevee, Roselia, and Burmy, will be appearing more often in raids, in the wild, and in field research. Hopefully, a lot of them will be in the wild, so you can optimize your PvP IVs for the Great League. I don't expect that from Onix. I do expect that from Eevee, and probably from Roselia, and we'll see on Burmy, probably not. They're probably going to come through special research, which is still going to be okay for Trash Burmy, because even one with a 10 floor can become a pretty high IV one. Pretty high PvP IV one from a stat product perspective. Take on raids against Pokemon with unique evolutions such as Lickitung, Scyther, Togetic, and Ralts. So those are all kind of cool. Find more 2Ks that will hatch Tyrogue. So if you don't have Hitmonchan, this is a good opportunity to get one. Feebas, Burmy, and Happiny. Events, field research will reward evolution items. Hopefully, I don't get a lot of Sinnoh Stones or Metal Coats or that kind of stuff, because I already have plenty of them, which will evolve. Certain Pokemon will be available, but there was one time I needed Kingdra, or at least I wanted to test out Kingdra, and I couldn't get a Dragon Scale for the life of me. So maybe it'll be helpful in the future. If you're lucky, you may encounter a shiny Burmy. Not necessarily the most exciting shiny line, at least from an aesthetic point of view, but a pretty strong Pokemon. All lures will last 1 hour during the duration of the event, including Glacial, Magnetic, and Mossy lures. So that's always cool. 2 times XP for evolving Pokemon. So if you're chasing XP, good time to evolve. Or if you haven't hit level 38, then a good time to start leveling up quickly, and so you can start maxing out your Pokemon where appropriate evolution items from raids. And then we have a 3-hour raid window on the Saturday, the same time frame that we normally have community days from 11 to 2. First stage on first 1-star, second stage and third stage, and you also get 5 free raid passes that you can use during those 3-hour windows. So you can do up to 6 raids for free. I'll probably be doing a bunch of these raids, and I'll talk about some of the strategies I'll be using and some of the tactics I'll be pursuing. So a lot has changed, or even in a moment, in a year, or even in a moment. We hope to catch you out there celebrating the power of evolutions. Trainers, let's go. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the mons that you might want to be pursuing as a battler. So the first one is going to be Eevee. You want to catch Eevees primarily for Umbreon, and then secondarily for Vaporeon. Jolteon's interesting. Leafeon, Glaceon, all of them are pretty interesting because they're mono type, and getting a last resort one for Community Day at least allows them to break out that mono type. But Umbreon by far is one of the most meta Pokemon in the game, in the Great League, and it's pretty decent in Ultra. And Vaporeon is situationally good in Great League and has some usage in Ultra as well, though it gets outshined by Swampert and Blastoise, even for Alligator. But with the right rules or restrictions, it could find some use. So for an Umbreon, for Great League, you want 0, 15, 15. But I encourage you to check out GoStadium.club to see which ones are whether or not your IVs are going to be pretty good and where they rank up. And then for the Ultra, you want as close to 100% IV as possible because it maxes much below 2,500 limit. For Vaporeon, you want a 115 15 for Great League, and then for Ultra, you want a 0, 15, and 13. I recommend that you trade with new friends to optimize your IVs as well. And then moving on to the second Pokemon, it's going to be Onix, and Onix evolves into Steelix, and as Jim Banks says, we've recited a lot of times, Steelix is good, and then as well, the shiny looks absolutely amazing. So if you can get a good PvP IV shiny, that you're golden. For the Great League, you want a 0, 14, 15, and for Ultra, you want 100% IV one because it maxes below 2,500. And you might say it only maxes 23 something. Is it going to be good? It's definitely one of the meta Pokemon in Ultra League. It has the ability to check a lot of the Dragon Breath users, as well as a lot of the Psychic users. Does have to be careful of the fighting and some of the ground users like Swampert, but it's definitely a really excellent Pokemon. Has a really interesting moveset in Dragon Tail or Thunderfang. Don't use Iron Tail. It's absolute garbage. Crunch, Heavy Slam, or Earthquake. So that's a really wide move pool. So some pretty decent moves from a coverage and as well from a damage dealing perspective. And it has enough bulk that it can certainly outlast and do some damage to the likes of Giratina. And then the next one is Burmy, which evolves into Wormadam Trash, which is the primary one that you want. But Plant and Sandy could also be interesting. They all have interesting moves in Confusion and Bug Bite and Psyshock, and then they have a type specific move. I'm not sure they all have Psyshock, but they all have Confusion and Bug Bite, and those are pretty decent moves. For the Trash one, you want a 7, 14, 15. But again, if you get ones from raids or from research, they certainly can be pretty decent as well. And I encourage you to go check out GoStadium.club for that. For Plant or Sandy, you want a 0, 15, 15 one. And you don't want these for Ultra League. They're way too low in their stat product. But again, these are the 3 primary Pokemons that I would be focusing on for the event. You definitely want to walk away with the event saying that I have good PvP IVs for these 3 Pokemon. In terms of your ability to grind, they are 1 hour lures, And if you are gonna use these special type lures, and you want to figure out which one's the best king, instead of Pokemon coming every 3 minutes, with regular lures they come every 90 seconds. So does it really matter? It absolutely matters. One depends if you want to use the lures to evolve, but as well they yield different types of Pokemon. And the Mossy lure is the best one, because you have the chance to catch Beedrills and Butterfree, and those are 500 dusts because they're third stage Pokemon. And with that being third stage, especially if it's like raining, for example, or cloudy, then you're going to get a 25% dust bonus. On top of that, with Star Piece, then it could be a lot. So if you're at like 4 or 5 lures, and you're walking around between these different stops, or you're just planted in that one spot, you can certainly accumulate a lot of dust, leveraging these special type lures. So I recommend, if you care about Stardust, you care about accumulating more Stardust, then definitely Mossy lure is the way to go. You're going to be able to get, when you see a Beedrill and Butterfree, definitely Ultra Ball it and make sure that you catch it, because it's going to add up to quite a bit of dust. So that's certainly, I'm probably going to buy some of those lures, and if you can, team up with some of your friends, and you're going to have a fun little dust grind and get a lot of dust through that way. In terms of the raid day, as you know, there's been a nerf to tier 5 raids in terms of how much candy is in each bundle. And this results in like a dramatically different amount of rare candy that you might get. And rare candy is a good way to start powering up some legendaries, or some really, really rare Pokemon. Like if you catch a Dino or hatch a Dino and you want to evolve it to Zweilous, then you definitely need some rare candy, or walk it tremendously. So when we take a look here, we see that tier 4s actually give you the most rare candy, and they have a maximum of 24. So if you're interested in getting rare candy, then I recommend that you do tier 4s in small groups, ideally with the same team or whatnot, depending on how many people there are. Then you can certainly optimize your rare candy bundle. And we still haven't even got all the rest of Gen 5. Unova Pokemon. There's lots of them out there that are going to be like pretty interesting from a raid perspective, from a gymming perspective, and from a PvP perspective. Like Jellicent, like you don't want to be left with like you've caught a good rare PvP IV Jellicent or whatever the unevolved form is, and you don't have enough rare candy and you can't use it. Then what's the fun in that? So definitely take advantage of those raid days to accumulate not only charge TMs and whatnot, but also accumulate your rare candy stack. In terms of raid challenges, these are some of the raid challenges. The hardest one is going to be Blastoise, followed by Venusaur, and then the easiest one is Charizard. So for Blastoise, you can't duo it without a weather bonus. When you encounter it in clear, it's actually pretty close, so I'm sure someone might try it. It might get pretty close, or they might even be able to do it. It definitely would be cool to check it out. But in clear, you want to do like 6 unique grass. That's probably like the only really interesting one. And if you care about sentimental battles, then Venusaur versus Blastoise is always a cool one. In rain, I don't know why it's not there, but 6 unique Pokemon in rain. I don't say 6 unique electric types, because normal Deoxys is probably going to be your 6th one. I definitely recommend that you check out Pokebattler.com to get information on which are the top Pokemon to do. So 6 unique electric move Pokemon, or you can duo with 6 normal Deoxys with a raid partner, or duo with Luxray, or the really hard one will be with Jolteon, just because it's so frail. But those would be fun. And then Venusaur is pretty easy. You can do it in neutral weather. Mewtwo will absolutely destroy it with Confusion, Psystrike, even Psychic is pretty decent. Moltres with Fire Spin or Wing Attack and Sky Attack. depending on if there's a weather bonus or whatnot. There's a number of different flying and psychic Pokemon and fire Pokemon that can duo Venusaur. So I recommend doing like a 12 unique duo, just because like that's going to be the most exciting one. And then Charizard versus Venusaur in neutral weather is always kind of fun. And you definitely should be choosing like the Vine Whip, Petal Blizzard, or even Solar Beam when you're doing it with Charizard, just because it's a little frail, and then as well it'll double resist the grass move as opposed to taking neutral damage from Sludge Bomb. And then in Partly Cloudy, like Charizard's pretty easy. It's double weak to rock, so I recommend that you try the solo if you can. This is a solo. This is like a, you don't need like a best friend. So it's not like a mock solo or assisted solo or however you want to phrase it. This is one you just do it on your own, and you should be able to do any moveset. Some of them are going to be easier than others. Like I think like Fire Blast is easier than Overheat, and Overheat is easier than Dragon Claw in my opinion. And then in Partly Cloudy, you can also do it with Machamp. Karate Chop is when it's partly cloudy weather boosted. Karate Chop is easiest because it generates energy the fastest, so you can do rock slides. But if you don't have Karate Chop ones, then you can certainly do it with Bullet Punch because it apparently generates energy a little bit faster than Counter, and it's also resisted just like Counter because of the flying type, and Bullet Punch because of the fire type. But really what matters is how many rock slides you're going to get off. So, but if you do Counter Rock Slide, that's going to be a lot of fun and be pretty impressive. You want to avoid Air Slash. You want to avoid I guess that's like the main one. And a little easy. Yeah, that's the main one. You want to avoid Air Slash just because that's going to deal super effective damage to like the already kind of squishy Machamp. The other one, and you know, if anyone from the Pogo Raids Discord is watching, or if Peggy is watching, which she's also part of the Discord, or if David, Darkest David is watching, or anyone from the Elite Soloist Challenge, I really want to see this done. 2v1 with Aggron in Partly Cloudy. I think it's probably Air Slash because it's double resist Air Slash, and Dragon Claw. Now, basically, each of you use one Aggron with Smackdown Stone Edge, and I believe you have to dodge. I think you have to dodge all the Dragon Claws, I believe it is, and then you just barely do it. If you're so confident in your ability to dodge, you can also dodge all the fast moves, and then it opens up the opportunity for Terrakion, Tyranitar, Rhyperior, or a number of different ones. So I definitely want to see that. If you're watching from the Cuddy, if you're watching, or any other mins from the Pogo Raid Discord, I definitely want to see a badge for this. That'd be kind of cool. Definitely going to be really difficult, and one that I definitely want to see. And then the last one, if it's in rain, Charizard's so easy duo. There's like so many Pokemon that you can do it with. Any like high DPS Pokemon, you know, any like Raikou, Electivire, Mewtwo, I'm sure a number of different ones can duo it in neutral weather. But if you want to do it in rain, then I think seeing the duo with Blastoise, if you can get all three of these done, like if it's raining 1 hour, then clear another, and then it's neutral weather, whatever that is, I guess Partly Cloudy, for example, and then you do it, you see this trifecta, I think that would be kind of cool to see. And as well, you might be able to encounter a shiny Charizard or shiny Venusaur or shiny Blastoise. This won't help you that much for Community Day because they won't have the Community Day moves. But you know, be able to stock up on rare candies, and you can get the starters in other forms or fashion. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. If you guys like me covering this type of news and diving into it this way, do let me know, and I will see everyone in the next video.